Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berks County. I am the Reverend John Cullinan. I use he, him pronouns. I am your minister here in this congregation. As Unitarian Universalists, we come together not with a list of required beliefs, but with a set of shared values centered on an unconditional, unshakable love. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, wherever you are at this moment, you are welcome to be a part of this community. As we are gathering, I want to extend a special welcome to anyone visiting with us this morning, any first-time guests, any out-of-town guests. I invite you to join us after the service right here in the Gerber Room for coffee and conversation. I would love to introduce myself, answer any questions you might have about our community here. Those of you joining us online, please take a moment to let us know in the chat box where you are zooming in from. You'll find the website link for UU Berks in the chat box as well, and a link to this morning's order of service. At the conclusion of today's service, we'll have fellowship time, but for now, let us take a moment to greet one another with a wave or a namaste or a smile. And now let us take a moment to center ourselves as we enter a prelude and prepare to worship. Our chalice reading. And now, our chalice reading this morning is by the Reverend Erica Hewitt. This is the time for you to light your chalice if you have one at home, while our chalice is lit here in the sanctuary. This is the season of endings and beginnings, when the small signs of dawn pierce through the night and something new is born. But first comes the waiting. First come the lessons of endings and beginnings. The presence of life, the sheltering spirit of love, grieves with those sweeping up the debris of loss, waits with those who restlessly reach out for change, grants us courage in the night to guard each other's dreams for this holy, wondrous universe. Grant us, O universe, unfolding in mystery, a sense of your timing. May we loosen our grip on that which does not serve us, leaving behind that which we have outworn and outgrown. Teach us the lessons of beginnings. Remind us that such waitings and endings may be a starting place, a planting of seeds which bring to birth what is ready to be born, something right and just and different, a new song, a deeper relationship, a fuller love in the fullness of time. On this first week of Advent, the waiting time in the Christian calendar, when we begin to anticipate our celebration of the birth of Jesus, we light a candle of hope with this prayer, which recalls the Christian roots of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Blessed Creator, who moves in the dark, teach us hope. Help us to be ready to appreciate the spark of light that comes to illumine our hearts and show the way toward love and peace. Help us to find breath to call out injustice, to speak words of love to those in need, to whisper in the wind that there is good in this world and enough to share, in the true belief that someday this world can become a beloved community that holds us all in care. We light this candle of hope. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 226.
Make your house fair as you are able.
is part of our collective spiritual practice as a community to enter into a prayerful, meditative time each week. We call this time Joys and Sorrows. You are invited to take a few moments to reflect on what you are carrying in your heart and your mind this week. That which should be celebrated, that which should be held with care. Those who are online may add their joys and sorrows in the chat box. Those of you on site are welcome to come forward and place stones in our common bowl in silence for your joys and your sorrows. Let us sing together now, Spirit of Life, first in Spanish, then in English, as we share this morning.
Compasión,
with me now in a spirit of prayer and reflection. Beloved Spirit of life, gracious source of all love, we come together this morning grateful for this time out of time, which we have set apart so that we might become more fully present to our own selves, to each other, to our communities, to that which we call holy. May our joys be celebrated together, our wounds be healed together, our hearts be opened together. Let us fix our hearts this day on hope. It may seem for some an impossible sentiment this month. Uncertainty abounds. And for that very reason, we must focus on hope. May those among us who are in need find the courage to call out for help. May those among us in a position to help open our hearts and gather strength to do what is needed. We gather now in a season where we wait for the return of light, literally and metaphorically. Let us not succumb to despair. Let us refuse to participate in the culture of greed and cynicism. Let us remember the call for this community to be a beacon. In the embrace of this circle, may we be reminded that we are the light we are waiting for. In the face of darkness, let us tend to the spark so we might carry this circle of care and concern in our hearts throughout the week to come, until we can be in one another's presence once more. All this we pray in the names of those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind. Amen. Now, I'm wondering if some of our young people and our young at heart people would like to come down front and join me up here for a moment. Come on down. I'm going to talk about something very powerful today. I'm going to talk with everyone about hope. But first, I have a question. Have you ever hoped for something? And did the thing you hoped for happen? Has it happened? All right. I think hope is kind of like these here. You see what we have here? Do you want to grab one? Anyone? So many acorns in this basket. What do you think this acorn hopes to be someday? A tree. What kind of tree? Out here, what kind of tree? An oak tree, yes. Here's why the acorns remind me of hope. Now, if I just dropped this acorn on the floor here and walked away, would that become a tree? No. It would have no hope at all of becoming a tree. What does it need besides being on the ground? Soil? Water? Sun? Oxygen? Like our acorns, our hope needs other things to come to life. First, we start with our imaginations. We imagine what it is that we're hoping for. Take a moment, everybody, close your eyes. Think of something. Imagine what you are hoping for in this moment. Your hope is like an acorn. Just needs a little work, a little care, some attention, a little luck, definitely some sunshine, definitely some oxygen. If it is ever going to come to life like an acorn and become an oak tree. And now one more important question. Could you ever have an oak tree without first having an acorn? No. The same way, every great thing anyone's ever done has begun with hope, with someone's imagination of what could be, plus action to help it to grow to life. That is the power of hope. You can head back to your parents or into the back with whatever you are getting up to there today. Don't plant those, these are made of resin. That's a lesson for another day. Please remain seated and join in singing the first verse of hymn number 55. A poem by Thomas Hardy, The Darkling Thrush. I leant upon a coppice gate when frost was spectre gray, and winter's dregs made desolate the weakening eye of day. The tangled vine stems scored the sky like strings of broken lyres, and all mankind that haunted nigh had sought their household fires. The land's sharp features seemed to be the century's corpse outlent. His crypt, the cloudy canopy, the wind, his death lament. The ancient pulse of germ and birth was shrunken hard and dry, and every spirit upon earth seemed fervorless as I. At once, a voice arose among the bleak twigs overhead, in a full-hearted evensong of joy illimited. An aged thrush, frail, gaunt, and small, in blast-bereft plume, had chosen thus to fling his soul upon the growing gloom. So little cause for carolings of such ecstatic sound was written for terrestrial things afar or nigh around, that I could think there trembled through his happy good-night air some blessed hope whereof he knew, and I was unaware. Here's the lovely thing about following a liturgical calendar, even as loosely as we might do in a Unitarian Universalist setting. The themes keep coming up regularly, on schedule. So we arrive at Advent, which, if you're following me on Facebook, I've just confessed is my favorite season of the church year. With the relentless onslaught of Christmas and the commercialization, the pastor at least needs Advent in order to center and be ready for everything the holiday brings into church life. And so we light our first candle this morning, and we light that first candle for hope. Here's the thing about liturgical calendars, too. Sometimes they don't cooperate with what it is we may or may not be feeling in the given moment. Hope is, I'm going to call it a stretch right now, maybe for some of us. I know it's something that I'm struggling with right now. I can see what's coming in the next couple of months and the years to follow, and hope feels like a tall order. How could we possibly hope in a moment like this? Which is when I turn to one of my new favorite books. Marianne McKibben Dana is a Presbyterian minister in Virginia. She is also a fellow improvising pastor. And a couple of years ago, she wrote, which is now probably the most flagged book on my bookshelf, as you can see right here, more than any other, Hope, a User's Manual. I could just say go out and buy it and read it, and that's our sermon for the day, but I'll give you a little plug. Dana started writing this just before COVID started, and completed it as we were in the midst of the COVID lockdowns. And she wrote it as she and her family were struggling through a very deep depression with her high school-aged daughter at the time, struggling with her own reasons for hope. And she sets her book up first to talk about what hope is not, and then what hope is, and then some of the practices that are involved in maintaining our sense of hope in times where hopelessness may abide. First up, a few things that hope is not. First of all, hope is not optimism. Optimism is something of an equation where our past experience plus our present work will equal future greatness. The world improves on, upwards and onwards, forever and ever. That was actually in one of our statements of values way back in the earlier part of the 20th century, onwards and upwards, forever and ever. Optimism is an individual, what's the word I'm looking for? Belief. It's not very communal, and it's also very passive. It's just a trust that things will turn out okay. Hope is not the same thing. Optimism is the belief that the world is getting better no matter what. Hope is the belief that together we can make the world a better place. But because we often confuse hope for optimism, we sometimes confuse hope for being part of what is called the toxic positivity culture, where you must be positive at all times. No negative emotions are allowed to enter into your sphere. It shuts us off from feeling anything. Hope doesn't let us engage in platitudes too easily. Hope is not a series of causes and effects. If I do A, B will follow. If I behave in this way, good things will happen. If I'm optimistic about the future will turn out fine. Hope does not work like that. It's a series of trial and error more than anything else. There's no real step-by-step instructions for hope. We try things, they don't work. Maybe we try something else. Maybe we take a nap for a little bit before we try something else. So much that needs our hope is beyond our control. And so hope is divorced from results. It has nothing to do with what we can control or not. So in that regard, hope is also not a method of future-proofing. Hope is not an activity whereby we try to predict every possible outcome, everything that could possibly go wrong, and try to set life up to avoid all of that negativity. You see, we're coming back to that positivity culture again. We can't plan, but the best we can do is develop skills and do the best we can in the face of everything. We can clarify our values, build skills to survive the waves of change that are coming. And perhaps most importantly, hope then is not the opposite of despair. They're two parts of the same coin, two sides. Despair drives our hope sometimes, but we don't fall into despair when we lose all hope. We fall into, what's the word I'm looking for here? Indifference. We fall into indifference when we lose all hope. We lose the ability to act. Despair fuels our hope, and drives us into action. What hope is, according to Dana at least, and I like her list a lot, hope is what we do. Hope are the actions that we will take when things are looking bleak. She relays many stories about dealing with her daughter's deep depression during the time she was writing the book. And the kernel of hope came about in one fateful conversation with her daughter when she was worrying about heading off to college and spiraling out. If I spiral, I will fail. I will get kicked out of college. I will have to move home. People won't believe in me anymore. And Dana asks her daughter, no, I don't mean what will you do if you spiral, what will happen if you spiral out? What will you do if you feel that coming on? I will take a break. I will go see my therapist. I'll take a walk outside. I will do X, Y, and Z in order to fend off the spiral I am feeling. Hope is what we do. It is contained in what we make real in this world against all odds. It's what we do in the face of pain and injustice. And hope is enough. And this is a word I'm in love with lately, enough. The small thing, the next thing that I can do. You've heard me say it before. In my brief time here, we do what we can with what we have in the small sphere of influence we live in. I'm going to get it put on t-shirts, friends. Hope is enough. At the Seder meal in the Jewish tradition, there is a series of recitation with the word Dayenu. It would have been enough. If God had just parted the Red Sea, it would have been enough. If God had just led us to walk through the chasm, it would have been enough. If we just did this one thing in the face of all that was happening, it would be enough. Because going back a couple of weeks, and that sense of fractalization of the work that we do, somebody else will do the next small thing that we can't. Somebody else will pick up the next small thing. If I act like what I have done in this moment is enough. It will become enough, and it will inspire others to do the next thing that will be enough. Because my individual offering combined with the offerings of others accomplishes something greater. Hope accepts reality at hand and refuses to accept despair, refuses to reject reality. It's the work of the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the wisdom to, and on and on. I don't have it memorized. Hope is consistent and persistent. Unlike the culture of perfectionism and production that we may live in today, that tells us that we should do it, a thing worth doing is worth doing perfectly, and if we can't do it perfectly, we just shouldn't do it. Hope expects that we will do the best we can and be gracious to ourselves and accepting of ourselves in our mistakes and continue to do the best we can and learn and make adjustments. And because there is no such thing as perfection, and because hope understands that, hope holds everything loosely. Hope holds things loosely. It's not rigid. There's no perfection. It expects there to be chaos in the process of practicing hope and building a new creation around us. It expects chaos and adjusts the machinery accordingly, or allows us to adjust the machinery accordingly. And so we build a capacity for mistake tolerance, grace to ourselves and to each other, relinquishing control. That may be the most frightening thing I've ever said from a pulpit, right? Relinquish control. There's only so much we can do and only so much we can affect. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, hope takes the long view. Hope understands that change is generational. Oak trees take 100 years or more to grow into their fullness, but the planting of the acorn is the thing we can do right now, and the care for it as it grows is the thing we can do right now. And we may not see the final product. I may not sit under the shade of the oak tree I have planted, but it will be there for the next generation, and they will take on the work of care as well. It is a muscle that can be exercised, hope. It's thinking about the pathway to a destination, not a skip over to the destination. I would love to own a TARDIS and just get to the place, but I don't have that. And so I think about the path. And I think about what agency I have in the process. Hope is agency thinking. What can I do and what do I have? And who can do what I cannot? Which is why Dana writes this book as a user's manual, because it's a muscle that can be exercised. All of this is brain muscle exercising. So hope is ultimately a practice, not a vain effort, not some trivial emotion we hang on to that doesn't make sense in the face of everything. Hope is a guidance. She quotes later on in the book from Václav Havel, the Czech playwright and eventually president of the liberated Czech Republic. And I pulled the quote out here. Hope. Either we have hope within us or we do not. It is a dimension of the soul and is not essentially dependent on some particular observation of the world. I'm turning this off and switching this. Hope is an orientation of the spirit, an orientation of the heart. It transcends the world that is immediately experienced as an anchored somewhere beyond its horizons. Hope in this deep and powerful sense is not the same as joy that things are going well or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously headed for early success, but rather an ability to work for something because it is good, not because it stands the chance to succeed. Hope is definitely not the same thing as optimism. It is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but certainly that something makes sense, regardless of how it turns out. It is hope, above all, which gives the strength to live and continually try new things. It is the point of the compass. Things might be awful, but then again, they might not. And here's why, friends. Here's why. Hope keeps us oriented in a direction that will make things better if we are willing to do the work, one step at a time, one thing at a time, dealing with what is dealable, with what is right in front of you, with what is enough. It's all chaos? Great. What's dealable? What's enough? What keeps me connected in this moment when hope seems ridiculous? What's left that keeps me connected to my values, my sense of integrity? What sparks the heart of this community I am part of? Hope exists in our hands, and it needs us to use our hands so that the tools will not rust, that the muscles will still flex, that the strength will build over time, so that when all is lost, it doesn't feel ridiculous to plant an oak tree. May it be so. Please remain seated and join in hymn number 391. As a community of faith, we share what we can with one another. We offer ourselves through the ministries of this church by giving to and receiving from one another. One of those gifts is our financial resources. Your financial generosity makes it possible for us to live out our principles and values in our church and beyond our doors, keeping hope and courage and forgiveness and compassion alive. You may make a contribution online through the app, or through the plate as it passes you by here this morning in the sanctuary. The offering will now be accepted. May what you give bring you joy and into deeper relationship with this community. Important announcements and upcoming events can be found on the back page of your order of service. Also, please sign up for our weekly e-newsletter, The Univoice, or like our Facebook page, and you can keep up with us there as well. We just want to highlight a couple of things this week. First, next Sunday after the service is our December annual meeting for membership. Please stick around after the service for that. And then the following Sunday,
Hello, my name is Adeline O'Brien, and I'm a member of the youth group. I'm here to talk about the youth group cookie sale on Sunday, December 15th. We wanted to find a way to raise money for the church and to make sure everyone can have delicious homemade cookies for the holiday season. We are asking for members, friends, families to donate cookies. Please find your favorite recipe and consider making them as a donation. We need your donations for the cookie sale to be a success. Cookie donations will be dropped off at the church the week of December 9th. The youth group will be at the church the morning of December 14th to decorate the cookies and accept donations from 9 to 10 a.m. You can drop them off at the church or contact my mother, Lynn O'Brien, to arrange a pickup. We specifically need donations of undecorated sugar cookies for the youth group to decorate and sell. Sign up today by scanning the QR code on the back of your order of service, or talk to me or my mom, Lynn O'Brien, after the service today. Everyone is encouraged to come to the church on December 15th for the cookie sale to be held immediately after service. We will accept cash, check, or Venmo.
And now please rise once more in body or spirit and join in our closing hymn, number 346. Shine upon us and out from within us, and be gracious to us and bring us peace. For this is the day. This is the one wild and precious life we have been given, so let us all find a way to rejoice and be glad in it. Go in peace. Grab some coffee and then come help us hang some green up in the sanctuary.